Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our webinar and on applications with STEP Warmfloor. And first of all, let me thank you for joining us this evening. And for some of you, I understand it's in the morning. So appreciate you taking your time out of your evening and spending an hour with us to learn about some of the applications with the STEP Warmfloor. Let me first talk about, if you haven't joined us in the past, so about Heat My Floors. For some of you who've seen us already, you're going to notice that that we're a right-hand up as an electric utility out of Rockford, Minnesota, and we've been distributing radiant floor heating systems since 1996. And anywhere from electric boilers to electric radiant floor heating systems such as STEP Warmfloor. And really the purpose of our business of Heat My Floors is to provide quality products that we believe in as an electric utility that are energy efficient and pass those on to our member consumers as well as customers across the nation. So again, want to thank you for joining us, and if you look on the screen there, you can see that we're located just west of the Twin Cities. Rockford's just a small little town, but we're, I'd say, about 45-minute drive from downtown Minneapolis. Your host, me, Dennis Schramel. I am the product manager here for Heat My Floors. I've been here for 22 years and trained hundreds of contractors, electrical, HVAC, remodeling, architects, builders, you name it, in regards to not only STEP Warmfloor but other radiant floor heating products. And a colleague of mine said that that fish I caught right there that you see on the screen is actually one I had to throw back because he was too small. So kind of gives you an idea of Minnesota. We got the great fishing around here. Okay, wanted to remind you too of our webinar schedule. And we had, the next one coming up is going to tie in with applications with floor coverings and insulation. And that has been changed. It's going to be changed here to November 28th. So we just had to move it one day back due to a scheduling conflict. So again, want to invite you to join us that day. And you'll obviously will have that directed in your email about that day to join us. And then the last one will be on December 11th, talking about installation, wiring, control. So we're really drilling down to the product. We're still probably at that 35,000-foot level, kind of coming down, because today we're going to learn about what the applications in that can provide business opportunities for your business. And so you really got to ask yourself, what is your competitor doing? Are you mimicking your competitor? Or are you stepping outside doing something differently? So more importantly, what is your competition doing, not doing, that your business can provide? And I think you need to keep that in mind when you're looking at this product line to enhance other business opportunities that are out there. And believe me, they're out there in so many ways. If you got guys that are in sales people, from contractors to young apprentices out there doing work, there's opportunity in every home or business that you're in, and we're going to learn about some of that today that I think you can expand your sales definitely beyond tiled bathroom floors and move into actually new construction systems. So, and you're all provided with an energy efficient healthy heating system with STEP Warmfloor. So I'll kind of talk about the market. And basically the market is comprised of about 70% residential and 30% commercial applications. And that's not necessarily going to mean with STEP Warmfloor. This is more of an overall view of the market with radiant heating in general. So really it's a lack of new construction that it's hindering growth right now. Obviously, we all are feeling it in this recession. Incidentally, radiant floor heating only accounts to 6% of all heating systems out there. So there's definitely room to move, not only with radiant floor heating in general, but with STEP Warmfloor applications. The good news on this, the remodeling market is hot right now, and a lot of applications that I'm about to talk on that will help put business and money in your pocket. Applications are really endless. I mean, I could be here all day talking about applications that you're probably going to think of some that come to mind that I'm not going to cover. But again, we're going to cover the basics, and really the applications are going to involve with commercial office space and manufacturing. And I'll have a case study here I'll show you shortly. And then obviously residential, it's really any room in the house. You got kitchens, bathrooms, from room additions, basements, any number of places where the STEP Warmfloor product can enhance comfort and provide an energy efficient solution for your client's home. We're going to go through these slides kind of quickly, but this is Electroplastics building, the manufacturer STEP Warmfloor, and this is located in St. Louis, Missouri, and obviously the manufacturer is going to heat their whole entire building with their product, but the story behind this is very fascinating in the energy efficiency side that I'll touch on. But you can notice that the element is on insulation, followed by a vapor barrier, and then followed by a mesh to hold and reinforce the concrete. So here's a commercial application going on. I believe it's the ground floor level. Another one, and my friend over there, Tim, in Spearfish, South Dakota, has done this job here with the Opera House, and you can see by the slide looking at how nice and even the heat is. And I was at and toured this building. It was amazing how they tried heating with inefficient type of heating system, where now this Opera House is going to be a comfortable and enjoyed space for the people sitting in the audience as well as those on the stage. So hats off for Tim. It was quite an accomplishment to see such a big job and done with energy efficiency that's going to pay back the system in virtually no time. Versus you got residential in-slab concrete applications, and I'm going to drill down into this one a little bit more, and in a little bit more of a kind of a case study here for you too. But just want to keep in mind that, you know, for whatever market or whatever trade you're in, there's a lot of business, you know, even though new construction's relatively slow, there's applications that STEP Warmfloor can be put in. Why give your business away to HVAC or hydronic guys or putting water tubing in? If you're an electrician especially, this is part of the business that you used to have and dominated with cables. Well, the cables had a period in time that they faltered, but STEP Warmfloor is one that you're going to find is going to be an energy efficient solution as a primary heating source for your customer's home. Also talk about staple up between the joists. I mean, here's an application that there's no reason that when you're in a home that there's hundreds of these applications, thousands throughout the United States, that you can utilize the STEP Warmfloor product to drive heat through that subfloor and drive it right through whatever floor covering type is above. And we're going to drill down a little bit in this one, and we'll get in a lot more into floor coverings and talk about staple up applications in more detail. But how many homes have you gone to people who have said, boy, I wish I could have, I would have put this product in? Well, they still have that opportunity to put this in, even though they don't have to change out their perhaps a tiled floor above. From a snow melt applications, I'm not going to talk in this in brief, but just shows you the wide applications that STEP Warmfloor can do. What better storefront for Tim over there in Spearfish, South Dakota, that you have this available that your clients can see that, but you can see his neighboring over there, your business neighbors still have snow on their sidewalks. So it's a nice, powerful statement there, showroom. And then you got roof de-icing systems, and what an aesthetic way to take care of, get rid of a problem of ice dams. And it's a nice aesthetic and energy efficient solution to melt those ice dams and potential headaches away. All the way from unique applications with this one with RV, and kind of our little history with this is that we've been approached by a number of RV owners looking to provide comfort heating in an RV, and what a perfect solution STEP Warmfloor can provide in comfort in these RVs versus their old or forced air type of heating systems. This one particular application that we're working with is going to be a primary heat source for this motorhome that is going to be apart down in Mesa, Arizona. And the customer is very, very excited about what they're going to be able to do and provide the heating in their RV. Even though, you know, down in Mesa it doesn't get that cold, but sometimes it gets down to 35 degrees. So STEP Warmfloor is a perfect solution. And he's very excited to show off his RV and to his neighboring RV neighbors out there in Mesa. So we're excited to see that project come to be. Now this one is a picture that paints 1,000 words, and good friend George over there at Electric Radiant Heat and More was very instrumental in landing this job with the Atlantis Hotel Casino Steam Bath. So what a great way, a great product solution to heat that what would be a normal cold bench. And you think about it, and my colleague here today noticed, goes, well, how would you ever do that with tubing? And yeah, I don't know how you would do that. So what a perfect, ideal solution for it. All the way from four-season porches. You know, some of these porches are virtually impossible to heat as a primary heat source, but a lot because of their high heat loss loads. But STEP Warmfloor is a good way to either provide that primary heat source or a great supplemental way. Now we're going to utilize that four-season porch, what it's meant for, all year round. All the way from additions, and as you can see on this addition, they can be somewhat difficult to heat because a lot of these are going to be forced air heating systems or hot water heating systems that need to be piped or ducted out to these rooms, and oftentimes that's an impossible task or very expensive task to get it accomplished. They may not be large enough to handle the extra BTU or heat load, therefore you might have to increase the heating capacity of your main system plant, where STEP Warmfloor could be added on as an additional without changing the mechanical system. So it's a great way, and look at this system. It's not that large. You kind of get an idea of it. It's around 25 by about 16 feet, and that's kind of a tough area to put hydronic or radiant floor heating systems in. This is where STEP Warmfloor was an ideal solution for this customer. This guy was so ecstatic about the whole project and how the system performed for him and the energy costs. He literally sent me the whole CD of the collection of every picture taken on every step of this project. He was so proud of it. So he's very, very pleased with the results of it. And obviously you got bathroom floors, and bathroom floors is an application where electric radiant heating cables have dominated and found their niche for many, many years. But you know, I've been in this business long enough, and you always hear the horror stories that contractors, tile contractors, tell about cable systems that have failed due to one reason or another. It could, you know, then it's the blame game. Who do you blame it on? Is it the tile guy? Is it the electrician? And with STEP Warmfloor, you'll have that worry of never a failure. That heat is going to be there for many, many, many years to come. You know, provide a lifetime heating comfort for these applications in bathroom floors, but as well as the other applications I showed you. And like I said, we could go on and on with many applications that are out there. Some I've worked on that are pretty unique, and then I also talk with other distributors out there, and they're very excited about these applications that it can do. So these are the main ones, and I wanted to show you tonight because of the commercial aspects of the product as well as the residential ones. So when we look at STEP Warmfloor, there's, you know, you may recall from the earlier webinar that we can do primary heating, whole house, or new construction, or commercial, anywhere to small bathrooms. So all points in between, from large manufacturing down to a bathroom, STEP Warmfloor is a solution for it. And kind of covering on the left-hand side of the column there is that, you know, as a primary heating, typically the STEP Warmfloor product is going to be installed in the concrete or on top of the slab. Now we're always going to suggest or require actually heat loss to be done, and that's some things that you don't have to be an expert on. Let us take and do the heat loss for you and design it, because that heat loss is so important to make sure we get enough heat capacity to provide that primary heat, because the heat loss in floor coverings will determine the element spacing. And I'll cover that again on our next webinar. So I'm leaving you hanging a little bit, but I want you to join us for next time. And then you look at the floor warming side, and generally that's 90% of all the applications that we deal with, and that's where you're going to see the remodeling market. And we design systems to meet a minimum of about 3.5 watts a square foot, versus what a cable system would need to be, would need substantially larger watts per square foot to meet the same system design. And also, floor warming, it also determines element spacing. So the floor covering from tile, carpet, wood, all have different element spacings that we'll cover on the next webinar, that is going to determine comfort, but also meet that minimum watts per square foot. So, so those are the primary ones that we are going to work with. And incidentally, we design more systems and sell more systems for basements, floor warming, than we do for bathrooms. And I think it's partly because of our location. We got a great number of basements, probably more so than other parts of the country, but those basements are notoriously cold. And what a great comfort solution to provide under any floor covering that your client may want to put down. But it's a great way to enhance and really utilize all of the square footage in their home. So with that, the heat loss is really critical in sizing the heating needs. It's going to help us a great deal. And you don't have to, again, you don't have to worry about this. We'll take this design out of this challenge for you. What we'll need from you is a dimensional drawing of it. A lot of times we'll get maybe a drawing from AutoCAD sent our way, something that we can take and determine the heat loss from it. It's also very important, and with your conversation with the Heat My Floors rep, that we know the job location, because we need to know is heating degree days that we can build into the system. Along with that, it's very important that we know the R value, the walls, ceilings, what slab insulation they may have, the slab edge insulation. Those are all critical factors that we can size it appropriately, so it protects you, the contractor, knowing that you have the system designed, sized right to meet the heating needs and comfort needs of your client. And also the window information is also very interesting. And what's really unique is that the heat loss is going to be a calculated measurement, and versus I'll show you later on is where the manufacturers used submetering to actually compare measured data versus calculated data. And it's interesting to see what their product has done, and we're conducting our own system tests here that I'll be talking about here in a few minutes. So energy consumption, obviously that's a big thing on the customer's mind. It's not only the front-end cost, but a lot of people look at that front-end cost and might be the determining factor if they buy or sell. But it's also, you got to really sell it to them on the energy efficiency side, the return on investment. And with STEP Warmfloor, it's the product that's really going to put money back in their pocket after they have that initial return on investment. So some of the tools you'll get with the design and layout, you'll get an understanding of comparison of other fuel types, or comparing electric cables with STEP Warmfloor. And I'm going to briefly show you some of those slides here too. Each one of your designs will have a system return on investment. So you can see on this one it's approximately right around 2 years. We generally see between 2 to 4 years on that return on investment, which is very good payback time. So this is one way that you can show your client that, yeah, you're paying maybe a little bit more premium than what you are for a cable system, but you're going to have that payback and the comfort of knowing that system's going to be there for many more years to come versus cable systems. And this one slide, and I apologize, this may look confusing. And really what I want to, you'll get a slide that, on this heat loss, it'll give you a comparison in energy, kilowatt hours, and from a forced air heating system down to radiant floor heating hydronic systems, all compared with STEP Warmfloor. So you can really see the dollars based on where that person lives and the heat loss. So it can give you an actual dollar amount in operational costs that can help you determine that return on investment. Okay, we're going to jump into this commercial case study, and this is, you're looking at the building of Electroplastics, the manufacturer of STEP Warmfloor product, and kind of give you just a little, this building is just in St. Louis, and it's uses obviously a primary heating system, and it's comprised of a manufacturing facility and office space. We're looking at about what it was just shortly under 35,000 square feet. But the employees are very instrumental in putting the heating system in, and right now they're basically had rolled out the element. But I wanted to put your attention here to the foreground as you're thinking ways to speed up installation time, because if you look at the foreground, and I'll bring my mouse to it, you can see all these elements here that are all pre-wired and connected, and they're all cut to the length. So all they have to do is roll that element out, and so that's going to speed up time. Think of that versus putting tubing in here and having the tubing serpentine throughout and stapling it down. What a quick and fast and smart way of taking time. And granted, it looks kind of cold there, but I don't think it's nearly as cold in Minnesota, at 10 below zero. So this is a good idea to prep the job in advance to save on time. And at this slide, you're going to see the element being put down there is down below. There's a 10 mil plastic barrier because we don't want metal to touch the heating element. And then you got the followed by a 4x4 mesh to reinforce the concrete there to get everything nice and stable. But gives you just a nice clear look of the spacing of the heating elements, because we got poured concrete that's going to go over the top of this. But nice, easy, clean, efficient way to heat that commercial building versus other applications. And here is a picture, I believe, of the second floor. This is a beyond Spancrete, so there would be a concrete pour that's going to go on this. And in the foreground, you're going to see an electrician making these wiring connections. But nice, easy way, and this is how they heated their entire building. And there you got the guys pouring concrete over the top of it. So this building is quite fascinating to go see, but also, I mean, when you're actually in the space, this, I've been in there in the cold in February, and it's just a beautiful comfort zone. Lucky employees who get to work in there versus maybe some other applications where they have forced air and it simply isn't warm enough. They've taken so much, and this product has changed a little bit from its initial stages. Here it's in a vinyl, but now Stefan has managed to put a plastic material over the heating element, so it looks quite different from what you see here, but the results are the same. And what a great way to provide snow melting there in this. They also have this in the front of their building, but you can see it does a great job. It just, you got two elements around where the tire tracks would be, but you can see the nice melting pattern it has on the dock doors. The beautiful thing is in the numbers when you look at their building. And the number really goes to show you that if you build a building with conservation in mind and couple it with a state-of-the-art energy heating, efficient heating system like STEP Warmfloor, you can reap the rewards of low cost of heating. And I know personally, you look at this numbers here, we're at 0.73 watts per square foot year before was a little bit colder winter. Anybody, especially in Minnesota, we know that it was a colder winter in 2009, 2010. But, I've done some calculations on our building that's done with geothermal heating, and it's all forced air geothermal. And believe me, there's not more than once, and the people in IT can attest to always having to adjust temperatures because it's not zoned properly for everybody's comfort needs, where STEP Warmfloor is a perfect solution for an office building to do that. Let's further touch on this, and the rates, the electric rates, they may have changed since then, since this was all done, but it's at about just 5.8 cents a kilowatt hour is what this costing, but very, very low cost per kilowatt hour. But really, it's in the next slide that really tells a tale, because the energy consumption is fascinating. You can see from 2009 to 2010, the consumption of the energy was higher. The cost of the kilowatt hour was a little bit lower from that of 2010 season 2011. But look at the operational costs. It is amazing that you have, again, a 35,000 square foot facility, and they're heating it for $4,164 a heating season. So again, I've done that with geothermal in our building back in 1994 when we built it, and I was getting around $1.08 per square foot. So the bottom line really is that they are spending roughly, they're 14 cents per square foot per heating season. And it's fun when you talk to an architect and tell them about that, and they just shake their head. They've never heard of something. But it just goes to show you that if you have the foresight to build a building with better insulation materials, better windows, and a great heating system, that you too can have your clients achieve these dollar amounts. And if I were to take these and extrapolate that into in Minnesota's weather and our electric rates, we'd be around 58 cents or 56 cents a square foot per heating season, which is phenomenal, because an average building, I've looked this up from the Department of Energy and seen that the average building, office building in the U.S. Spends an average of $1.10 per square foot per heating season. So the people at Electroplastics know what they're doing, and with the energy consumption that their product does is fantastic. I just had a question on how many transformers in Electroplastics building. You know what? I don't know that, but let me tell you, it's a lot. But they were ingeniously put in throughout the building and well thought of. I'm sure Stefan stayed up many a night thinking that process out. So I would have to probably get back to you, Chris, and how many. It is substantial numbers, but they're all located throughout the girding, the framing members of the building. So if you ever get a chance to get out there in St. Louis, I would know for sure they'd open arms and invite you to come in there and look in the living laboratory that they're in. So, but phenomenal energy consumption costs. We're going to jump right over here to then, some residential applications as a primary heat source. And here is a building that we had the joy to really work with an architect and design a system. The customer was very concerned about no maintenance, and they wanted a system that can integrate with their solar panels. And you might just catch the solar panels on the edge of the roof there, but there's 36 of them located throughout. And they wanted to have this home heated with renewable energy source. And we've done some calculations through a heat loss, of course, because we wanted to ensure comfort. And at this, what it's going to be projected to heat is $740, and I'll cover a slide on that here in a little bit. And just to let you know, this home is surrounded in natural gas. There's natural gas everywhere, and this home is total electric. And it's used as a primary heat source to heat it. What a beautiful home it is. This is how it kind of started out. You can see the homeowner actually lives in the house in the background there as they were building, so they're really building right next to their home. But what's unique about this is that the manufacturer, or the contractor did a fantastic job. In fact, this was his first job he ever encountered with the STEP Warmfloor product. And he laid it out very nicely. Obviously, there's going to be concrete that's going to be poured over the top of this, but the key was the, insulating underneath it, and you can see that there's some 2-inch polystyrene down underneath, and then there's a slab insulation, which I don't have a picture of, but all along the edge to prevent that heat loss from leaking out. So it was designed to provide and contain that heat. In fact, the heat loss for the structure, and I think for the lower level where this is, was about 7.3 kW, or 7,300 watts, so very, very low draw. That I remember when talking with the electrician, when he found out that it's only a, basically just under a 50 amp breaker to handle all that load. He was just amazed at what little energy consumption that really was going to take. And I told him, well, it's actually going to be less than that as it self-regulates. And well, he scratched his head, and I had to go into a long information of how the product self-regulates and further enhances energy savings. So we look at this layers, and this is kind of my own animation piece of what you have, and you would have your foundation edge prevent heat from going down, and then you have your sand gravel mix all leveled, and then you'd follow that by a 2-inch polystyrene. So you'd prep this, and many of you guys out there have seen hydronic installations where they put 2 inches of polystyrene, high density polystyrene down, extruded I should say, and that's a perfect way. There's other insulation materials out there, one called the barrier that guys will use, but this one is probably a little bit more readily available at your supply stores or your building centers. But then it's followed by the heating element. Now we're containing that heat. The heat can't go down, and it can't go outside. So we're going to build a little mass, because now we have the concrete being poured right over the top of it. So now this job actually had about 6 inches of concrete. And what the contractor was so thrilled about is heating that slab up after they poured it to help aid in the curing of the concrete. So he could have and the architect, incidentally, this was his sister's house. So he wanted to ensure that everything in the materials in here were what she expected with a renewable heat source. And they were just tickled that they could heat the system up and aid in that process of curing the concrete. So then you follow by your flooring type, and obviously you can do any flooring type, tile, carpet, just leave it bare concrete, stained concrete, to wood floors. And they happen to do a combination of carpet, but a lot of wood floors that they put over there. So what a great solution. One kind of installation tip, and this is kind of what you're going to see, because if you're first time doing the system, you'll know the little things where you can build up your speed. It's kind of like riding a bike is what I tell contractors. The first time you might stumble and fall a few times, but the second time, the third time, you're going to gain your experience with it and have the understanding of the product, so you're going to save a great deal of time. One of the tips I want to see, let you know, is you really got to refer to the design and layout that we provide for you. And that's kind of your roadmap to follow to help you go through the layout of the element, how it appears from on the floor, to the loading of the elements and how they tie to the transformer. So that is so key, and I can't tell you how many times I've talked to contractors, and I guess there, people are out there that, oh, there's the instructions. Well, this is like the Christmas gift. I'll just put it in without putting instructions on it. So I think they get I think they get kind of confused sometimes. So they got to go back to this, and that's what the purpose of that design and layout is. And Electroplast has done such a great job in perfecting it. So kind of like you've seen on that other the application with Electroplastics building is, pre-cut the lengths of the elements, and if you can, some of them you may want to pre-wire it, like the one the photo shows here. It's a great way to speed up time. So now you're just rolling out the heating element and making your wiring connections. Another thing that they did on this particular job was, since they did expanded extruded concrete, is they put cap nails in there, and you can see by the red arrows here, but I'll kind of highlight them too. These cap nails are then they're kind of got ridges in them that'll hold it down to the extruded plywood, polystyrene. So that's a great way to just push those in there with your fingers and to prevent the element from shifting from side to side or from wind blowing. So it's kind of like stapling the tubing in hydronic. It's just much, much quicker. And yeah, I kind of showed you you see the conduit going up there too. They protected wires where they could, because you got guys coming in there with wheelbarrows and pouring concrete. So they thought it out very nice on their first job. And this kind of gives you an idea of the elements are then all connected on one end. And so here's where the conduit runs into the transformer lines. But you can see all the elements strung out there. And basically with this one, all the elements were connected on one end. So I think they're around 28 feet, 27.5 feet long, each of these. And here's the transformer location. And incidentally, there was 701 feet of element that was laid in this application that you see. So they're spaced approximately about 7 inches apart, what it called for meeting the heat loss demand of there and getting a certain watt density. So here's a centralized transformer, and designing, knowing where these transformers are going to be placed is a lot easier to do and think through for new construction as opposed to an existing home where you got a lot of places that are finished. But this was a room that is only accessible to the outside, and so you enter into it, and there it is, all the transformers. Now, some people may be looking and go, oh my goodness, that is a lot of transformers. But if you really took a furnace, gas furnace, sliced it all up and put it on the wall, you're no difference in no size. And in fact, I bet you're smaller than what a forced air furnace is going to take in your home. So when they're building homes at high dollars per square foot, every part of the house is thought through that, here's a way you can utilize, less space for these hanging these transformers. I also want to pay attention to, we got a submeter here, and which is going to give us our measured energy, like electroplastics did in their building. We're going to find out exactly what this home is going to use, and we're going to have to wait, unfortunately, a whole year until we get all that data. We can pull that information by monthly as well, or daily. And so we're going to take that and see how that is going to be measured versus the calculated cost. So again, the transformer, and again, these guys have done buildings before. They've done big jobs. You can see how nice and neat everything is wired to a wiring trough down below, and brought in, and eventually brought up to the transformer. So what a great job it was. It was a joy to work with these contractors and architects. So what we've calculated this job to be is around $740 using the STEP Warmfloor product, and we're heating the building at about 1,313 square feet. So not a great deal of space. If we were going to heat this with a forced air, again, we're in a natural gas area, it's projected to heat around $984. So there's significant savings that go with that savings, but it's also the comfort side of it, which is, I don't know how you really, it's kind of a unmeasurable type of calculation where how you can measure people's comfort. Then we look at the hydronic boiler, because that was, in the gas environment, it's easy to put a gas boiler. That was the main competition that this particular contractor, electrician, was up against. And again, you're seeing the difference in energy costs. And I'm venturing to guess or know that this number here will go down over time. So it'll be really interesting to see. This is the heat loss number calculated. Again, that is not the measured, and that's what it's going to tell us by that meter being put in there. So there give you two good examples of primary heating applications using commercial and residential with STEP Warmfloor. I mean, we've gone from large industrial or commercial type manufacturing to whole house heating. So what I'm trying to say out there is that there's business to be had. There's business for you If you're a builder, if you're an electrician, flooring contractor, there's business out there that you're leaving business on the table if you're not utilizing the product for so many applications. And it's always fun to hear the stories, and we follow up with our customers and contractors, and they just are so pleased with the level of comfort that the product provides. You know, it's kind of one of those things, and you may have heard me say it before, they can't see it, but boy, they know it's there. They like it. And you've all, I'm sure, have experienced radiant floor heating in one aspect or another from different products, but when you can enjoy it, plus enjoy the energy bill that comes with it, them are two nice matches there that customers are looking for. So moving along here to kind of floor warming applications, and this is kind of going to lead us down our path to our next webinar of the floor coverings and insulation. But floor warming it really represents about, and like I said in the beginning, about 90% of all the applications that we sell for or design for. Probably because obviously there's more remodeling doing, smaller applications and additions, or compared to like new construction. And we typically will see these in basements where forced air is really not adequate heat. And I can tell you that when my system isn't on, my floor heating system isn't on, my wife can, if she was sitting here right next to me right now, she'd tell you, yeah, it's cold in our house in the basement. And she does not regret 1 minute of having the radiant floor heating system installed in our home. So she's thrilled with the comfort level of it. So now we're occupying all parts of our house, and so are our customers and your customers. So it's a great way. I do not look at that target market of basements. They're out there. People have small children as their family expands. They're moving their little Johnny and Susie down to the basement, and they want them to be comfortable. What better way to expand your house into it? So STEP Warmfloor will provide that for you. Floor sensing recommended. Because these are typically heated with other heat source when you're doing floor warming. The floor sensor is really nice, so it communicates with the heating system and does not fight with the central heating system. Because if the floor sensor is not used, sometimes the thermostat may fight with the central furnace and not be able to come on because the space is warm. Well, now our feet are cold. So the floor sensor is actually going to measure that temperature. So I'm always going to recommend a floor sensor where you have other sources of heating up there. And we're usually going to design it for about a minimum of 3.5 watts a square foot. And as you can see on this application, and again, I'm going to be drilling down this into the floor coverings, but this is going to, you may have seen this on the earlier webinar, but this is a carpeting application, and we're going to get into the spacing of the elements. You can see there's about I think it was around a 6-inch spacing here that's on here. And incidentally, they have cork floor insulation down on the floor, on the concrete floor, to prevent the heat from going down. So another system that you can get involved with is really an ideal retrofit system is a staple up, or what they call is a between the joist type of method of using STEP Warmfloor. And the picture kind of really spells it out. Obviously, right above there, he may have had cabinets, a refrigerator here, and cabinets. So why need to heat space that's going to be under cabinets? But it goes to show you got some trusses in there that you're stapling the product right up. But the key here is to insulate the joist space, and we want to make sure we put enough insulation to drive that heat through the subfloor, typically 3/4 inch, and up through the finished flooring. So you're always going to hear heatmyfloors.com representative talk about insulation. It's going to be every time we talk to you, how you going to insulate it, and leave it up to you. Sometimes in this application, you got to use insulation. Sometimes in applications below grade on concrete floors, insulation may not be needed. Depends on what part of the country you're in too. So we're always going to recommend either polystyrene to put up underneath there, or some type of insulation to dry that heat. We don't want that heat to go down. And some people, I get questions at trade shows where they'll say, geez, do I really need it? I can heat both levels. Well, when you kind of talk to them about the law of thermal dynamics, they can kind of understand that heat moves to cold. So it's very important. If you want heat to move in one direction, you need to insulate the other side of it. And we'll cover that a great deal. What I really want to tell you is that you want to utilize the experience of Heat My Floors. Our reps that are here, they got a great deal of experience working with a number of radiant floor heating applications with STEP Warmfloor. So really utilize them, and if they don't know, they'll get the answers down from the manufacturer's been fantastic to work with in getting down to the answers. But really feel, and this is, and I think you guys, contractors out there really know good communication between the trades is the key to successful installation. That's no different with STEP Warmfloor, because what really, I mean, what typically you dealt with cable systems is you dealt with either electrician to hook up the voltage, the 120, 240 volt voltage, and then you got the flooring contractor going over, maybe the electrician laid the floor. Well, here with STEP Warmfloor, you have other layers in there that you need to communicate with. Because it could be the builder. I mean, where are you going to put these transformers or places for this? Is the flooring contractor. What flooring is going to go over this? Is it going to be tile? Is it going to be carpet? Is it going to be wood? Are they looking for primary heating? Are they looking for floor warming? So these are all key things that you need to be asking yourself and communicating to others on the job site to make sure that the installation is successful. And the most important really is the homeowner. What is their expectations of the system? What are they, are they thinking they're utilizing as a primary heat source but was designed as a floor warming heat source? So it's very important to communicate with them to know what their expectations are. So if we communicate, we can ensure that the customer is going to be utilizing the product for this project and for other ones to come. So preparing your warm floor proposal, we're going to get into the floor coverings, we're going to get into the wiring here on the next webinars, but you really want to study the STEP Warmfloor designs and layout worksheets. Again, I can't stress that enough. They get sent out to the contractor, they get sent on the job. It's very important that you understand and look at them, because it really gives you your roadmap to follow to make the installation easy. Another thing you want to plan is the location of the transformers and thermostats. Again, on a new construction, it's going to be easier to plan for wall locations, but you also need to be thinking about these transformers, where they're going to be located, especially in a retrofit existing home, that you need to hide them in some way. Believe me, these are nice transformers, but you don't put them in a China hutch. So it's something that you want to plan and put them in a wall, under the stairs, and I'll have some slides in our 4th webinar series that'll tell you some neat, unique ways of what they can hide those and still be closer to the load, because we have to be concerned of voltage drop. Another one is that we kind of covered to consider pre-cutting the element, wiring to save labor on the job. In fact, we're doing a Bath Crashers TV show here tomorrow. And this is one where we normally would have contractors doing the work, but we're out there helping with the show. And so we pre-cut the element and wiring, and are going to work with the electrician. So all we have to do is roll out the element and make wiring connections. So it's going to save us a great deal of time. In TV world, that's huge. And typically 2 to 3 minutes a square foot. Now, you're going to find your speed. Remember, we're going to ride the bike. We're going to fall off it a few times, but you're going to work your speed up over time. So 2 to 3 minutes is probably going to be pretty close, but I can venture to say you can be in that 1 to 2 minutes per square foot in no time. So again, we want to reiterate the trade discount pricing. We give you 20% off. So think of us as a wholesaler. It doesn't matter where you're located throughout the nation. This is the product that will get out to you, give you trade discounts out. If you have personal applications, we feel it's very important. We give you an additional 10%. So it's a 30% discount to contractors on their personal applications, because we feel if you're actually working and utilizing the product that you'll be able to sell that product or a great deal more on to your customers. We also give you some collateral information, free heatmyfloors.com sales brochures that you can add your name on the back side of it to help you at trade shows or help you at getting business from potential clients. So it's a great piece that really gives the customer a full view of the energy efficiency, reliability, simplicity of the product. So our commitment to you is that we're going to provide you the free project designs with the layouts. We're going to order product. Normally we ship it same day or next day after we get agreed on, that project and layout is exactly what you needed for your client. And we have a large inventory supply to meet most applications. In fact, there's very rarely that we don't have the product on hand. And we want to let you know, and with our utility business, it's very important that we build our loyalty with you with service beyond the sale, is that we're going to be here for you before the job is sold and after the job is sold. So we want you to have that peace of mind that we're going to work with you to help you be successful with the product. Want to again remind you, as before we get into the question and answering period here too, and that we do have the upcoming webinars here on November 28th. We just slid it over one day, so that is a new date. So please keep that in mind. You also already been briefed on it for emails, and you'll be able to join. So just want to keep that in front of you, and then we're really going to dig down into this a little bit more. Obviously you can see at 45 minutes to an hour of a presentation, there's not a lot, so we got to really break these down. So we're going to get in more meat and potatoes. So if you're an electrical contractor out there, this is where you kind of go, okay, this is what I've been kind of waiting for. I understand this stuff, but we wanted to kind of give you all the whole view of the benefits and features of it so you can sell it to your customer, but also knowing the applications where you can utilize the product. So again, thank you for attending heatmyfloors.com webinar, and can't thank you enough. I mean, you're spending some time here at home or in the office late, and this is part of our team right here that is going to be assisting you on any of your applications that you have. So we thank you for attending. Now I'm going to open it up here for some question and answers that we're going to get through. It looks like I got about 7-8 minutes here before, so not too bad of getting it done right on time. So some of the questions here is, how do you sell STEP Warmfloor to a homeowner when it costs more than other systems? And this is something that I kind of struggled with at the beginning of learning the product, because I thought, oh boy, but after I learned and I worked with it and I understand what it can do, and I'm in a unique position of working for an electric utility, because Heat My Floors is a subsidiary of Right Hennepin Electric Cooperative. So I understand the energy aspects of sub, and that's what sold me on it, but it also sold me on the application side that you learned about today of it. But I sell it to consumer on really 4 principles that I kind of keep true. And one of them is definitely the reliability side of it. You got a product that hasn't failed. It's not like cable. It's the low voltage side, the reliability, energy efficiency, and simplicity and safety of it. Those are really where I stick to the core of how I sell it to the consumer. And then the energy efficiency of it in comparison to cables, what's going to provide that return on investment. So people will buy better quality. And believe me, this product is a lot better quality than what you see out there. There is manufacturers, all kinds of cable systems, and then there's guys that just private label them and put a different colored jacket on them. They're not STEP Warmfloor. And I kind of warn you, I'll show you maybe on the next webinar some imposters that are out there that look like STEP Warmfloor but are not. And so we'll cover that. But yeah, stick on to the reliability, energy efficiency, simplicity, and safety principles, and I think you'll have the same success that we have. Another question, I knew from previous webinars you have different size elements. What would you use in that concrete slab applications that you show? Well, really it begins it's kind of a two-part answer, is that really we want to tell you that it's typically a 9-watt heating element. And that 9-watt heat element, it's all going to be derived off of the heat loss as well. Maybe a higher heat watt or watt density element is going to be placed, or perhaps even a lower one. But typically it's a 9-watt heating element, and then the element is spaced differently to meet that watts per square foot, to meet that heat loss calculation. So there's a wide variety of elements that are available, but typically 9 watt per linear foot is the one that we'll use for concrete applications. Noticing all the different applications, are there others that you have done? Now that's a pretty good question. I'm glad you asked it. What you may find kind of funny here, that I heat my doghouse with this application. I heat it with STEP Warmfloor. I have 2 dogs. Yes, I must love them, and I do. But I heat their little dog houses. They're both built identical. I put the STEP Warmfloor product in. I put a thin layer of Luan over the top of it, nailed it down right through the heating elements, avoided the bus braids, wired it to a transformer. Voila! I have a heated doghouse. And my wife kind of jokes with me. She goes, "Well, I know why you heat the doghouse, because sometimes you're in it." So I may have to kick that dog out from time to time, because that's where I'm going to be kicked to the curb. So yeah, that's just another one application. Heated car seats. I'm fascinated with about heating hospital beds. I think there's definitely a market. So my mind really races on what the product can do. And if you've got an entrepreneurial spirit in you, you'll find that there's a way to utilize the product for your customers' applications. Do you carry inventory at your location? And yes, we do. We have probably one of the largest inventories in the country of products. So we have it there ready to be shipped, and we carry a wide variety of the 7.8 watt, or large quantity, I should say, of the 7.8 and 9 watt elements. So that's going to cover more of the applications that you're dealing with all types of floor coverings or in concrete. So yep, everything's shipped from here, and we get it out very quickly, and we'll use UPS as our carrier, shipping carrier. So, and then another question I have, do you have this in your home? And without question, I do. And I have this in a couple bathrooms. And when I built my house in 1999, I didn't know nothing about STEP Warmfloor. And I heat with geothermal and with a hydronic boiler in our lower levels. And very happy with their heat they provide. I have some maintenance issues with the boilers. I don't have much with the geothermal, but I just recently put it in the bathroom, and I tell you, it's fantastic. I did not use a thermostat to regulate the temperature. I just turn it on with a switch in the fall, and I shut it off in the spring. And if you're an energy watcher like I am, and work for the utility such as I have for 22 years, you kind of pay attention to that electric bill. And I don't see it jumping at all. And granted, they're not very large bathrooms. They're probably a total of around 110 square feet for both of them. But nevertheless, I don't see the energy on my bill. So there's a few of the questions that we had. I think that concludes those. Again, I want to thank you. We're approaching the 8 o'clock hour. I want to thank you for taking your time tonight and joining us. Hopefully you got a good, clear understanding of where the product can be installed in a wide variety of applications. Think about your business and what you could be doing differently, because it's out there. It's out there. You just got to let your customers know about it. And we invite you to join us on November 28th at the same time, 7 o'clock. It's our new date, and we're going to get really drilled down now into the floor coverings and how the elements going to be spaced differently with different type of floor coverings, and how insulation improves comfort and efficiency. So we're really going to dig down and then get into the installation, wiring, controls on the next one. So again, from us here at heatmyfloors.com want to thank you again for joining. We look forward to seeing you here on November 28th. Thank you and good night.